In the spirit of reconciliation, Past Bedtime would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of all the incredible lands in which we record this podcast. By extension, we pay our respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, their past and present elders, and the connection they have to Australia's land, sea, and community. This season of Up Past Bedtime is proudly and exclusively brought to you by New Harvest, a female-founded supplements brand that's honestly changing the game when it comes to women's health. Their whole vibe is about making wellness products that actually support women's lives. No toxic gym bro energy, no complicated routines, just real supplements that fit into our days. One of my absolute ride or die NH products is their gorgeous greens powder. I've been using it for years now, during pregnancy, postpartum, and now single mum life. It's packed with superfoods, probiotics, and veggies, but it actually tastes good. I'm talking it is the only greens powder on the market that I don't need to mask in a smoothie. I can have it with straight water and ice, easily. Even my toddlers are obsessed. Their go-to flavor is the strawberry, but I'm a banana lolly girl through and through. The best bit, every time I have it, I just know I have done something good for my gut without overthinking it. If you want to try New Harvest Greens Powder for yourself, head to www.nakedharvestsupplements.com and use the code Bella Messina for 15% discount on your order. BELLSMESSINA is the code. But otherwise, I've left all the information and direct links in the show notes. Hello and welcome back to Up Past Bedtime. I'm Bella Messina and I am going to be staying up late with you tonight. Guys, if I sound a bit stiff in this podcast, or if I look a bit stiff if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, just know I'm in so much pain right now. I have been working on my posture with a physio, and part of that meant going and getting muscle relaxant injected into my traps because I have extremely overactive traps. I did a whole TikTok sort of about the theory behind it and why I did that. And I was prepped that it was going to be really sore getting my traps relaxed because they are so overactive and are kind of constantly on, that getting them relaxed was probably going to cause me some neck pain, some back pain. Holy Jesus, I have a throbbing headache right now. I feel like I cannot turn my neck properly because it's just so tight and sore. It's actually not tight, it's relaxing, but it's like when you go on a really long run and your muscles are doing the same movement over and over, and then you stop and you get lactic acid, and then all your muscles get sore from doing that repetitive movement over and over. Yeah. That's what's happening in my traps right now, but they've been overactive for years, and now they're finally getting a break, and my whole body is freaking out. If you look at me and you're like, she looks like she's uncomfortable, just know I am very, very uncomfortable. I'm also feeling a bit off recording this. I'm not going to lie. I ummed if now is the right time to even record this. I've had a really big couple of weeks in my personal life that has left me feeling super emotional and super burnt out, okay? I just feel so numb, to be honest, and so unmotivated and uninspired, and I just want to curl up into a ball a little bit. And I guess that is kind of what contributed to the topic of today's episode. I kind of had an episode like this scheduled in, and then weirdly it's just fallen at the right time. But today we are really going to be talking about that, how sometimes in the self-development journey, or when you're trying to rediscover yourself, you're trying to better yourself, you're trying to heal, you're trying to do all the things, you can often lose the fun in your life, okay? There is a toll from being hyper-focused on self-improvement, on your career, on your healing goals, and tunnel vision can strip the joy out of everyday life. And I kind of had this realization the other day, and I was like, I really need to talk about this because I'm sure I'm not the only person that can sometimes feel like they get lost in trying to achieve goals they set. I have been slogging through my days. I feel like I'm always chasing the next milestone, and I'm not really leaving much space for fun or spontaneity or pleasure. And I wanted to do an honest check-in with anyone else who maybe feels like their life has become just like all grind, no glitz. because, you know, this whole season has been about the journey to self-discovery. There's been weekly episodes. You guys have been hustling, I hope, along with me. So I feel like maybe there are a few of us that kind of feel like, far out, this is a lot of hard work, and I'm feeling like there's not that much like joy in my everyday life. So let's validate each other. Let's jump into it and have a bit of a yap. Welcome to season 3 of Up Past Bedtime with me, Bella Messina. This season, we're doing something different, something special. This is going to be a true exploration of womanhood, of reconnecting to who I am and who I want to be. We're diving deep into my journey of rediscovery and growth as I navigate motherhood, healing, and everything in between. This season, I'm inviting you to come along with me because maybe you're finding your way back to yourself too. This is our season to rediscover her. Think of this as our late night heart to heart where nothing is off limits. Because as always, the best conversations happen when you're up past bedtime. So like I was saying, this realization sort of came to me the other day that I really had lost a lot of the fun and joy out of my life when I was kind of, you know, plodding around in my backyard, like mowing and running to the fucking garden and putting out mulch and doing all this stuff. And then I was thinking in my head, oh my God, I've got so much work to do. And then I've got to go inside and I've got to clean this and I've got to iron this and I've got to fold this. And I then have therapy tomorrow, so I can't do that bit of work. So I'll have to do that tomorrow night. Like, I just feel like right now my life is just like a checklist. And I'm just like, okay, do this thing, then do this thing, then do this thing. And any spare time that I've had recently, I've really dedicated towards being the best mum I can be, being the best person I can be, healing from a lot of the stuff that I've gone through this year. And I don't even remember the last time that I did something that wasn't pre-planned just for fun or just because. I had a viewing party for The Summer I Turned Pretty at my house for the first 2 episodes of season 3. And I sat down with all my friends, we got comfy on the couch, I turned on the TV, and I had this realization moment of like, I do not remember the last time I sat down on the couch and just watched TV. Not while I'm doing something else, like not while I'm cleaning, not while I'm doing, like literally just sat down, vegged out and watched like a show because I wanted to watch TV. And that made me so freaking sad. I was like, oh my God, yes, I've had so much personal growth in the last little while and I've done so much and I, feel like I've really changed as a person. I've also lost sight of a lot of the things that make life fun, enjoyable, bearable. Like, I just realized, I was like, I don't take downtime. Like, any spare time I have is either used for working, mothering, or, like forcing myself to like hang out with my friends or like do things that I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that I'm like being the best, most all-rounded individual. And it kind of made me realize that I have fallen a little bit to the trap of like being that girl and like leveling up and healing and doing all those things, taking away from the everyday enjoyment of life. I actually had a therapy session this morning and I was sort of talking about this concept with my therapist and the idea of like, I'm starting to feel like I'm creeping towards burnout. And this is a very common pattern in my life, burnout. It's very common for a lot of people who have ADHD because we kind of run on a motor, right? And we go, 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 and then usually like crash out. I was kind of discussing with her like the concept of how right now I have to physically force myself to take rest periods to slow down because I am so focused on getting somewhere, being someone, doing something that I've forgotten the importance of taking time for me and realizing I don't have to be this superhuman that is always achieving and always doing things. Like, in my job, I don't need to be, making the best content ever and being the best and getting the most views and the most likes. Like, I find it really hard to understand that there are some seasons of life where it's just okay to do enough And you don't have to be the best, right? I always tell myself you have to be the best, you have to be doing the best, otherwise what's the point of doing it? That's a really unhealthy mindset. And sometimes when I go through big periods like this where I've got a lot of goals and a lot of things I want to achieve, I get in this really toxic mindset and I lose sight of other things in my life. I lose sight of like just hanging out with my friends because I want to hang out with my friends, and I'm not thinking about 50 other things while I'm doing it, and like finishing work at a normal time, like 5 o'clock, and then like just going and sitting on my deck, like things like that, which I told myself at the start of the year I really didn't want to lose sight of and I was really prioritizing, have slowly slipped away from me. And I think it's really easy to avoid living life in order to avoid feeling hard feelings, right? So when you're going through a massive season of change, right, there's a lot of emotional stuff that comes up. And I've kind of learned over time that I actually have an anxious avoidant attachment style, okay? So I have an anxious attachment style, but I actually go through like a cycle of like I'll be anxious about something and then I'll avoid, and I'll be anxious and I'll avoid. And that happens with like any type of connection or relationship to anything in my life. And so when I am going through like a big season of change, sometimes I like feed my plate with like as much stuff as possible so that I can avoid feeling a lot of the hard emotions that come up. Like I don't want to slow down and I don't want to just rest and think and not achieve and whatever, because then I'm left with my thoughts and I'm left to reflect, and that can be really scary. But the problem with that is no one is just a robot who can do everything all the time, right? And then I end up getting really burnt out, and then I end up not being able to reach my goals anyway because I'm just so tired and unmotivated, and I'm just like, this is all too hard and I don't want to do this. I think another added level is, I have ADHD, and the dopamine that comes from achieving things and doing things and checking off lists and reaching goals is really, really high. So then my risk of hyperfocus comes in really, really strong. But right now, like I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm feeling a bit depressed. Like I'm feeling like I don't have the balance that I had at the start of the year in my life. I don't know if that's because we're getting to like the end of the year and you're kind of in that flow and, it's the middle of the year, there's not much happening, there's no big holidays. Like I don't know if I'm just feeling like churning and I'm not really enjoying things. But like I'm like, I can't remember the last time, like after I put the girls to bed, I just watched TV or I just read a book and I didn't come to my office to work. And I can't remember the last time on the weekend I actually enjoyed the weekend and I wasn't panicking the whole time thinking like, oh, I've got so much work to do and I've got so many things to do. Like I can't remember the last time that I was kind of feeling in a state of relaxation and rest and like wind down. And, it doesn't help that I have the live event coming up in a couple of weeks. And I'm so freaking excited for that. Do not get me wrong. I have been looking forward to it for months. I have been planning for it for months. We're coming to the pointy end of it now, which is probably contributing to me feeling a bit like stressed and burnt out. And I don't know if there's other people listening who really struggle with perfectionism and feeling performative all the time and feeling like you have to achieve and serve all the time. But it gets very exhausting. I am feeling a bit lost and I'm feeling like a lot of my self-worth at the moment is derived from what I'm achieving and who I am as a person. I feel like when you go through a big life change and you start ticking off a lot of goals and achieving a lot of things, you kind of feel like you have to be doing that all the time. And I guess that's the downside of self-development and self-growth is like when you're making big, massive changes, you're seeing big, massive results. But it's the same with anything like weight loss or anything like that. There is a time where you plateau, and I am really struggling with that. I feel like I should be doing big, amazing things all the time, and I'm burnt out. I am really burnt out, but I'm really struggling with the idea of trying to inject fun and spontaneity back into my life because I feel a lot of shame and a lot of guilt if I take things back for me. Like I said, we're coming up to the live event, and at the start of the week, I kind of reached out to my team and I was like, after the live event is finished and, that kind of thing is squared away, I want to take 2 weeks offline. Like I want to take 2 weeks leave where I'm just only posting organic stuff and I'm not doing any paid jobs, and the podcast is going to be in break because the season will be over, and I just want to take 2 weeks at home, like not going anywhere, not doing anything, to just decompress, because the reality is I'm not living a normal year, right? I'm also going through a huge divorce and dealing with all of the intricacies and emotional, physical, spiritual, mental toll that comes with that. And on top of that, I'm a single income household. I'm supporting 2 kids. I just said to them, like, I'm feeling burnout. And I feel like if I do not prioritize taking a step back and just having some enjoyment in my life and doing things for me, I'm going to crash out, right? Like I'm going to have a massive breakdown and I can't afford to do that in any sense, financially, physically. Like I just can't. I can't take, big chunks off work because my mental health goes down the toilet. But then I'm stuck in this like battle with myself where I'm like, well, but if you're not working and if you're not doing things, you're not making money. And what does that mean for your future? And I found it so freaking complex, but I'm also like, I'm so tired of feeling like this all the time. I'm so tired of feeling this pressure all the time. I'm so tired of feeling like the weeks and days are just flying past and I'm not like sucking anything in and like soaking anything in and like enjoying anything. I'm stuck in this big catch-22 and I don't know, like I just wanted to do this episode and be like, hopefully I'm not the only person that feels this way. Hopefully I'm not the only person who's going through self-development and change that feels this way. I have a feeling a lot of it is, the pressure of single mum life and the pressure of huge life changes and huge expenses that I'm facing. But I also just regularly find myself being like, one day I am going to pass away, which sounds morbid and I don't mean it in a morbid way, but I'm just like, one day I'm going to pass away. And if that day was tomorrow, would I be upset that I wasn't enjoying more of today? And I feel like the answer to that every single day is yes. Like, oh yes, I would be disappointed because I didn't make the most of today or I didn't do small things that make me feel happy or make me feel good. And then I'm like, well, you're working so hard towards this goal, but if you're not enjoying things and if you're not having fun and feeling happy, well, you're kind of not reaching the goal, which is being the best, most well-rounded version of yourself. I miss little things like being really spontaneous on a weekend and being like, oh, I don't have plans this weekend. Like, let's go do something fun on the fly that we didn't plan. Like, let's go, if it's kid-free weekend, let's go get a drink or like, let's go out for dinner. Or if I have the kids, like, let's take them to the park. Like, I just feel like every single second of my day is like backed up and checked list and pre-planned and we don't, find times to have like dance parties in the house, or I don't find time to just read for fun or watch TV for fun or, do silly little things and just like enjoy sitting on my back deck and having a drink. Like the last couple of months, my like wine and cheese on a Sunday afternoon, I haven't had the chance to do that for like quite a while now. Like a lot of the things that I was doing to make sure I didn't get this way have kind of fallen away. And I know a big reason for this is control. I am working on not being such a control freak. This stems from, well, one, my personality, but two, my ASD and liking routine and liking things being the same all the time and liking to be in control at all times. So I can't just like have fun and do fun things when I know that there is stuff piling up around me. And if I let it get too far, then I'll be out of control. So I put these like really rigid and strict boundaries around myself. I'm also really badly stuck in survival mode at the moment. I just feel like my body has been shocked to the fuck house over the last 12 months and is just in a constant state of like cortisol and just like go, 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 get through the day, get through the day, get through the day. But I'm kind of hitting a point now where I'm like, I don't want to be just getting through the day, every day. And like, I know sometimes that's unavoidable in life, but I'm like, I want to not just be surviving. I want to be thriving. And I feel like the sort of sparkle and adrenaline of the big life change has worn off. And this would usually be the time where I start to like crash and burn out. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to fall into that trap again. I want to have some stability, some consistency, and some enjoyment from the day to day. I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling on this topic, but I just wanted to have like a really honest conversation with you guys about things that are going on in my own head, because I think it's really unhealthy to like do a whole season about self-development and everything that comes along with that and not touch on like sometimes self-development can feel heavy and can make you burnt out. I've said it before, but I feel like especially with women, there's like just this expectation that we have to be doing all the things all the time. And we can fall into so many traps of like toxic positivity and toxic, self-development and self-help. And I think it's really normal to go through peaks and troughs of it. I think it's really normal to get through stages where you're just like, I'm not feeling that same push as much, but part of the journey is taking a step back, is slowing down, is accepting it's okay not to be going all the time. It's time for a teeny tiny break. And while I've got you here, our Past Bedtime Season 3 is proud to be sponsored by New Harvest. And if you need a little extra pep in your step, their natural pre-workout is it. It's clean, vegan, and made specifically for women. No crash, no jitters, no weird gym bro ingredients, just the perfect amount of energy and focus to get you moving, whether you're heading to a workout or just trying to power through the chaos of life. It gives the same kick as about 2 cups of coffee, but in a way that feels balanced and clear, not wired. New Harvest is all about empowering women to take up space in the wellness world with products that actually support your lifestyle. That's what I love most. They make supplements that fit into your life rather than making you feel like you need to change it. You can shop now at www.nakedharvestsupplements.com and use the code BELLSMESSINA at checkout to save 15% on full price products. That's BELLSMESSINA. Great. Seeing as we've powered up, let's power on with the episode. I know I have a huge fear of like slipping backwards, right? So in the last 12 months, I feel like I've been doing a lot of things, pushing a lot forward because I'm like, I don't want to go back to where I was. I don't want to have any backslides. I don't want to, do all this hard work and it be for nothing. But a big thing that I've really been talking to myself about in the last couple of weeks is like, there is no point reaching a goal or working towards a goal and, feeling that like sense of accomplishment if the whole journey was miserable to you. And I think that is the thing that I've fallen trapped to my whole life, is being so future focused and so forward thinking that I miss the stuff that is around me right now. Like I just get so focused on the end goal that I will sacrifice anything and everything to be there. And I had this realization where I was like, you are in a period of your life right now where you are doing some big things, but you're not in the period of life where you can do all the big things, like not every season of life is meant to be about doing the biggest and the best. And that can be a really hard thing to understand and accept. But there are some seasons of life where you're not meant to go out and like make the most money you've ever made and do the biggest business moves you could ever do and, have the biggest social life ever and, have another baby, expand your family, move house, get a bigger house. There are some seasons where you just need to do enough and that's it. And that's really important for your soul and your mental health and, really other massive parts of your life. Like we get told that we have to achieve all the time, and sometimes achieving is not achieving. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I kind of mean like sometimes the best thing you can do and the most impressive thing you can do is take some time to go slow. There is a lot of heavy things on my plate. I feel like there are a lot of heavy things going on in the world today, and I think it's okay to allow feelings to be heavy and to allow things to feel heavy and to want to simplify your life, to want to find little joys in your life, to want to slow down and appreciate what you have. And I don't think it should be something that is shameful or something that is criticized. I think it is something that we should all lean into and prioritize a bit more. Like, I want to enjoy joy for joy's sake, like not because I feel like I should to be a better mom or a better woman. Like I just want to feel joyful. So I kind of sat down at the start of the week and I was like, okay, what can I do to try and focus more on the now and less on the future goals and, take a bit of that control back from the self-help, self-development, healing narrative. One of them was, like I said, I did contact my team and I scheduled in 2 lots of break that I'm going to be taking. So I scheduled in a 2-week break in September. I guess you guys are hearing about it now. In the first 2 weeks of September, if I go a little bit quiet, no, I'm okay. I'm just taking some rest time. And then I also scheduled in some leave around Christmas time. I'm taking another 2 weeks to have a complete social media blackout, which is really scary to me. The idea of just like not posting for 2 weeks is crazy, but I need just like some rest and I need some time for myself. So I did that, which is really great. And I feel like when you put those little break periods in, it kind of gives you a goal you're working towards and a rest period you're working towards. I also started scheduling in fun in my calendar. As an ADHD girly, my Google Calendar is my life. And I literally went in and started scheduling in blocks of fun. Like I started scheduling into my calendar, like watch TV, sit on your deck, go and get drinks with friends. Like I just blocked it in and I was like, okay, it feels a bit silly. It feels a bit redundant, but we're going to like try and force you to have some rest time in your day-to-day life because you spent so many years feeling burnt out. Like I literally, from my marriage till literally from the day I got married until the day I left my marriage, I felt like I was just in one mammoth season of burnout and one mammoth season of like running on the rat wheel and like going. And I'm like, I don't want to go back there ever. I don't want to feel like that in my everyday life. And unfortunately, I have the personality where it's very easy to fall into those routines. So even if it feels dumb and stupid, you're not going to do it yourself, girl. So let's schedule in some times of fun. I also am really trying to let myself be creative and do things I really enjoy with no other purpose. I think the problem with my job, and I love my job, I'd never trade it in for the world. I am so freaking grateful and lucky to have it, is I've always been a really creative person and I've always done little things to tell stories. I've always been a storyteller. I've loved storytelling my whole life. But the problem is now I do it as a job. That's a big thing that I've always enjoyed that I now put a lot of pressure on and is monetized. And one thing I'm really going to try and lean into over the next little while is creating just for fun. So not worrying about the view metrics, not worrying about like the purpose of it, just like doing little silly fun projects just for the sake of it. And also letting go of the idea of being like the best and being good and just allowing myself to be human. A really big thing to me was saying to my team, like, hey, I know this is probably inconvenient that I need to take a break, but, I'm going through a lot personally. I've got a lot on my plate and I need rest. And part of my soul just like never wanted to admit that. And I wanted to just be like, I'm so fine. I can push through. I'm all good. No one worry about me. But I was like, you're allowed to have someone, even if they would never think this about me, but like you're allowed for your team to just be like, oh, she's been a bit lazy right now. You're a human. You can have periods where you're lazy and people can think you're lazy, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person and it doesn't mean there's anything bad about you. It just means you need rest. I have talked about it a few times this season, but a big concept that I'm really struggling with and I'm doing a lot of therapy on is I really struggle with the idea of unconditional love, right? My brain cannot comprehend that someone can just love you for you and not because of what you're giving them or what you're doing for them. And it's a really sad realization that I've come to, that I'm not very good at understanding unconditional love. And it often means that if I make a mistake, if I'm not feeling like I'm the perfect version of myself all the time, if I'm not producing results for someone or serving them or achieving for them, I often think, oh, why would they stay around me? Why would they care about me? Why would they love me? I'm not giving them anything, which is really funny because I don't feel that transactional way about how I show love for people. There are many people in my life that I love them just because they're them and I love them. Even if they disappoint me, even if they do things that I don't like, I still love them, but I don't afford myself that same grace. And so, yeah, I always feel things like, oh, if I tell my team I want to take, 2 weeks off, they're going to drop me. They're going to be like, oh, we don't want to work with her anymore. She's shit. Or, if I tell my partner, oh, I'm taking a 2-week break, he's going to be like, oh, she's lazy. She's unambitious. She's, going to be a financial burden on me because she's not working. Like, I get these type of thoughts that go through my head, and that's why I find it really hard to take seasons of rest and to find time to be fun and silly and, not that serious and not that deep. And a lot of that comes back to that idea that I feel like I have to be good all the time and I have to be the best all the time. So I am making a pledge to myself. And I guess this podcast is like my accountability, but I'm making a pledge to myself that it's okay to be messy. It's okay to not be a perfect human because no one is. Everyone has, parts of themselves they don't like and parts of themselves that, they're not the most proud of. And, everyone has seasons of life where they're not doing the best and they're not achieving the best, et cetera, et cetera. And that's okay. And it's not something that has to be thought about so deeply, and it doesn't have to be super reflective of, my value as a person. I can embrace the flop era and still be lovable and still have an enjoyable life and still have fun. I actually have a friend who's a massive overachiever, and we kind of both work in the same sort of way, in the sense of like, if we're not the best, we don't want to hear about it. And she's actually a twin, and her twin brother is the complete opposite to her. And he just has like a really beautiful, happy life where he, does things that make him happy all day, every day. He has a low stress job. He has heaps of hobbies. And I always say to her, I wish my brain worked that way. Like, I wish I could just be happy with enough, and I wish I could just relax a little bit and enjoy life, because his life looks so fulfilled and so beautiful and so content, and I don't feel that way often about my own life, and I want to change that. I don't want to look at someone else and be like, oh, I wish my brain could think that way. It can if I let it. If I do the unlearning, if I allow myself the grace, if I allow myself the space to unlearn the habits that I've taught myself. And I guess that is what I'm really trying to do and what I wanted to talk about in this episode, because I feel like it's very easy to sit here and get all these people to come on and share their amazing stories about, going through change, and for me to share tips and tricks about things that I've done. But I think it's also really important that I affirm that you don't have to be doing things all the time to be your best self. Actually, part of the process of becoming your best self is just being. Just being. Just enjoying the process and enjoying who you are in the now. And I think that's a really easy thing for all of us to lose sight of, especially the mums listening, especially maybe some post-breakup girlies listening like myself, women rebuilding their lives, rebuilding their career, maybe you've gone through grief. I feel like a lot of us forget to have fun, especially the older we get and the more responsibility and the harder times we go through. Fun goes on the back burner. Rest goes on the back burner. Just enjoying the moment goes on the back burner. Just being goes on the back burner. And I think we all need to start affirming the journey of relearning how to enjoy the moment and enjoy the smaller things in life, because if we just keep going on this like rat wheel of doing things all the time, we're all going to be miserable. Like I said, a lot of this episode was me just voicing a lot of the thoughts that I have had on, my journey of self-discovery and self-growth, and some of the things that I've, struggled with. And, I mostly am just making this episode so that people feel affirmed if they've also felt this way and they've also been having these thoughts lately. So I don't want this episode to go on forever, and I don't just want to lecture at you for 50 minutes straight. That's not the point. It's just about having an open conversation and explaining some of the feelings I've gone through, because sometimes just vulnerability and openly expressing things that you're going through, even if you don't have answers for them, can be so helpful for others. I don't want to just like keep sitting here and rambling on about the same point, but I did want to say, or I guess challenge you guys to maybe take some self-reflection in your own life about the amount of rest and enjoyment and fun you have been having. I know when you have teeny tiny kids, it's really hard. I know when you're going through really big things, it's hard. I guess this is my mind after midnight or your little homework for the week, but I would love for you all to sit down and think of one thing you enjoyed doing just for fun that you haven't done in a while. Mine was watching TV, and I've scheduled in some time over the next couple of weeks just to watch TV, not to work, not to scroll on my phone, just to watch TV. But it could be anything. Maybe, I don't know, you loved to go for a run or be in your garden or do some cooking or, I don't know, go shopping. Whatever it is, I want you in the next 2 weeks to schedule in some time, like actually lock it in place to do the thing that you love to do and feels really fun and enjoyable for you to do. If you do that, I would love for you to take a picture of you doing it in the next 2 weeks and DM it to me. I would love to see it. I think that would give me so much joy, and that would be so fun for me. I really wanted to make an episode just reminding everyone that you don't always have to be doing things every second of every day. You can just take periods to enjoy what's going on around you. You don't have to fall victim to the burnout culture and the constantly achieving culture and, you know, the always being the biggest and best culture. And I wanted to make sure that, you know, this season and my podcast wasn't something that was contributing to that. And instead letting you know, like, I have these thoughts too. I have these moments of feeling down too, or feeling burnt out, or feeling lost, or feeling unsure too. It's a natural part of the human existence and the human process. Wow, I really just did a massive D&M with you guys. I did just like a big thought dump and was like, here is every single thing that's going on in my head this week. I know a lot of what I shared this week is very reflective of, one, I'm about to get my period literally any day now, TMI, but maybe a few of us are synced. Sync sisters. And also like a lot of the stuff that's going on in my personal life right now has, you know, made me feel this way. And I'm very perceptive of the environment around me, and I find a lot of my mood can get highly influenced by that. But this has been an undercurrent from the last 12 months of like, yep, you're doing really great things and you've made massive strides and, you know, you're moving forward in the best way, but also don't forget to just rest, enjoy, have fun. And I guess I just wanted to give that reminder to you guys as well. Oh my lordy, my neck and back is so sore. I feel like I've been so hunched over because I'm like in extreme pain. So on that note, I'm going to love ya and I'm going to leave ya after yapping your ear off for like the last 35 minutes. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. I apologize that the episode was late this week. I did have some personal stuff that prevented me from being able to record and edit and do all the things that I usually do earlier in the week. Take care of yourself and I'll see you next week. Love ya. Sweet dreams.